one game. We got Justin Rowe on the line from Stadium and Main podcast breaking down Michigan football for us on the recruiting front, which, as Justin has outlined, it seems to be in great hands going forward. Second in the Big Ten, number 13, according to the 247 Sports Composite nationally, with 20 signees in 2021. And Mike McDonald's already hard at work.
Yeah, Mike McDonald and Mo Lindquist are both hard at work. Mo Lindquist actually, on the day he was hired, went out and offered, I think, 4 or 5 guys already, just right in that first 24 hours. So they're definitely getting to it right away, which, like I said, this is going to be the strength. So I think they see that and they say, you know what, we're already a little bit behind the 8 ball with some of these conversations with these kids, right? So they got to get right to it. And 2 of the major targets right now for still the 2021 class are Damani Jackson and Will Johnson. And Damani Jackson was a gigantic target for Michigan. He was always seen wearing Michigan gear, and it seemed like both those guys, they've actually said that they were a package deal for a while. Well, Damani Jackson on Saturday came out, and just mere days after wearing a Michigan hoodie and his dad wearing a Michigan hoodie as well, he committed to USC. So big hit for a 5-star cornerback, for Michigan, and that's a position, obviously, after last season, they could use some help right away. So that was tough. I do think Will Johnson still has a good chance to go to Michigan. He's obviously got a lot of options, but he was also seen wearing Michigan gloves in their state final this weekend as well. So it's the kids love to play that game and wear the gear, to try to let everybody know where they're going and where they're thinking about. Ultimately, it doesn't mean a whole lot, I don't think, in their decisions, but it is good to see those guys in some gear. So I do think they still have a pretty good chance at Will Johnson. I don't believe they're fully in on a package deal anymore. But if Michigan could even get 1 out of the 2 there with basically a whole overhaul to the defensive staff, I think that's a win in my book. And so we'll see about that. But yeah, the recruiting trail has been interesting. There isn't a whole lot of information out there yet because these new coordinators and assistant coaches have really just been throwing a bunch of offers out there. But I haven't heard a whole lot in terms of traction quite yet. But they are starting to get out there on the trail and start talking to these kids right away, which I think is necessary. As I said, they're now behind the 8 ball with a lot of these kids. And you've got to, form a relationship and start that conversation in just mere months when a lot of these rival or other coaches out there have been, forming relationships with these guys for years. So we'll see how this pans out with these new coaches, but I do see them really making a splash on the recruiting trail right away.
I'm reminded of how little the gear means necessarily when I Google search images for particular players months or years down the road and look back at how many times they've posed for pictures with gear from other teams that they eventually did not sign with. Got Justin Rowe on the line from Stadium and Main podcast talking about Michigan football, coaching changes, transfer portal, NFL draft, all sorts of stuff going on, of course, with every major college football program. And, of course, that second National Signing Day is coming up in just a couple weeks, actually just a week from Wednesday. That's coming up.